Beautiful. How's it going? How you doing?
Really good. Welcome to RockEyez, man. So,
Nice to be here.
so tell me in the early days, when you first started with, maybe before that actually, but Excursion with Mark Slaughter. How'd you guys hook up? You're both from Vegas, right?
That's correct. We actually went to high school together.
Wow, that's pretty cool, right? Right?
Yeah. And like everybody else when you're a teenager, you have these dreams of being a big rock star in a big band and this and the other. And Mark and I were two of the same.
Right, yeah. Wow, wow. Did you do writing together and music, and what was your pastime back then when you hung out with them?
We yeah, we did. We did a lot of stuff together actually. We just went to our classes, and then whenever we were able to do music stuff. We did music stuff. We were in the choir. We were in a barbershop quartet thing. We just had the band excursion going, and we would go to school. And when school was over, we would go to rehearsal, and then we would play gigs.
Cool, 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 cool.
Hang
Um,
on, just real quick a second, because this light is obviously it's it's a little too bright in here, and I didn't realize it was so bright.
yeah,
Okay, there.
no
Okay.
problem, no problem. So after Excursion, what band did you go into after that?
I I left Las Vegas to join a band called No Sugar.
Right,
They were out of Ontario, California.
right. And did you
Yeah.
originals or covers or
Yes, originals. So the whole point was to go out to California, because this was 1985.
right,
So at that time, California was, Los Angeles was a hotbed for, everybody.
right,
And so I left at 21 years old in 1985 and joined a band called No Sugar. And we did a demo tape, which I thought was it was really good.
right.
We opened up some shows. We opened for Kicks actually
Wow.
on the Midnight Dynamite tour, and that was one of the highlights. I thought that was great. Um, so I was in that for about a year or something, and it just didn't seem like it was going to go any further.
Right. What kind of music was that?
Um, it it was, I don't know if you'd call it classic rock. It was just melodic rock, but the
Right,
singer sounded a lot like Kevin Dubrow.
right. Yeah, wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So, and the thing is with Kevin Dubrow, I love him. I loved him. He was great. But some
Right,
people liked him and some people didn't care for his singing. So it was a hit or miss type of thing.
right. Wow,
Yeah.
wow. So after No Sugar, where'd you go from there?
So after No Sugar, I decided to go a little further in. So the guy who produced our demo, his name was John Graves.
Right,
And he ended up being this huge sound uh, guy years later. Like back then, he would do tours and different things, but he would produce bands. And so we hit it off pretty well. And he says, "Hey, I know another band that's looking for a drummer." And I said, "Okay." So the next band was called Jaguar.
wow.
And that band at that time, I felt like I was making a step up. Now
Right,
they were in Hollywood, and they had put out a record,
right,
you know, and they had management and so on and so forth. So I said, okay, well, cool, I'll check this out. Sure enough, it got my name further on. We did some really good shows. We did demo tape again, and once again, it just somehow or another fizzled out.
right,
Um, what was great about that band that I really, really liked was it was a cross between, and it sounds strange, a cross between Deep Purple and Rainbow
right.
together.
Yeah, cool.
It, you know what I'm saying? If that makes any
Right,
sense, Deep Purple stayed one way with Richie Blackmore,
right,
and then they changed, and then Richie Blackmore and Rainbow went one way, and then
right. Yeah,
and it was a great band, real heavy on the organ and just heavy, not dark music, but just
right.
you know.
Wow.
So
I actually think I have that album.
Made in Heaven,
I think so. It was like a white cover and
yes,
right. So I do have it. Yeah.
Yep. So they did that record, and then they changed the singer and drummer.
Right.
And so then we were playing shows, and people knew of the record, and da 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 da. And we did another demo, which sounded great and everything. And we had interest from a couple labels,
Right.
and one of them was Island Records at the time.
Right.
And somehow or another, just a conflict between the band and the management just fizzled out again, you know.
Wow.
So I was at that point, I'm 0 for 2. So so the same guy, same producer produced it, John Graves.
Right.
The thing I know, I'm hearing about Marc Ferrari leaving
Right.
Keel, and he was looking for a drummer.
Right.
So my name got recommended, ironically enough, from Greg Chason, who was a good friend of mine from Badlands,
Right.
and Mark Slaughter,
Uh-huh.
and a few other people. And they said, "Hey, give this guy a try." And so we did, and I got in it, and everything from there started to really happen and started to click, pretty quick,
Right.
actually, until the singer left.
Yeah. Greg's a good guy too, like he's in a band called Freak Show right now. Well, I don't know if he's actually a permanent member, but he was with them when I did the interview with Freak Show about 2-3 weeks ago. He was part of the band. So he's a good guy, good guy.
He's a really good guy. I feel like I've known him most of my life, and he used to let me come into Badlands rehearsals.
Cool. That's
cool. And it was one of the highlights at that time. I was a huge Badlands fan, and I'd just sit and just listen to these guys at a rehearsal and just go, wow, this is incredible. So he's always been nice and cool to me ever since I've known him.
Cool. But it seems like you keep on progressing with every band you're working with. You're getting more popular, more, well known. So what happened after that band?
Yeah, so that went on, and we had gotten signed, and everybody, knows the story of, how George Lynch came in and, took the singer away. And, with the band was called Ferrari at the time, and he took the singer away. We spent a lot of time finding another singer. When we finally came across Roy, the name was changed, the record's ready to go. We put the record out, and, everything else after was, what Cold Sweat, became and everything. And still to this day, I love those guys, and I love that band.
Right.
So when Cold Sweat did its thing, we were out on the road for 6 months, maybe, or so, doing the record with Ronnie James Dio. We were opening up for him, and we did the Monsters of Rock, 1990. We were there for that. And by the end of the year, beginning of the year, we were ready to do a second record. And there were mixed feelings within the band of where we should go, a smaller label, a bigger label. And it just kind of stalled. And in the meantime, me and Chris McLernan, who was the bass player of Cold Sweat, we're trying to find other things to do, being in a cover band and just, while everybody's doing their thing and stuff. So we were in a cover band, and we were at FM station. It's this club in Los Angeles at the time. And we were friends with Tommy Thayer and Jamie St. James of Black and Blue.
Right.
So we were sitting there one night, and the next thing you know, this crazy idea comes up to say, why don't we start a Kiss tribute?
Wow.
And we just kind of sat around and thought about it and everything like that. And, I tell this story quite a lot stuff, because it was weird, because the bass player, Chris, was already a bass player, and Tommy Thayer was already a guitar player. But you had me being a drummer and Jamie St. James being a singer.
Right. Yeah.
How are we going to do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Jamie had to switch to drums, and then I had to move to guitar and to sing, so I could do the Paul Stanley part and stuff.
Right.
So basically we, I told him, let me go home for a couple weeks, and let me see if I can really do this or pull this off, and we'll do a rehearsal.
Right.
And so I did. we came into rehearsal, we really liked it and everything, and it just, we started first, Kiss tribute band, and I think it was 1991, I think it was, and it just took off. I
Right.
mean, we didn't expect it to, to be as big as it was, and um so that, yeah, we did that full gear, full Gene and Paul there, and Eric and Bruce were there, and I mean,
Wow.
those were good times. Really.
So do you still do that?
Oh God, no.
No.
Um, I did it. I did it for the few years that I did it with them, and then my name got out there. And the next thing I know, I started to substitute and fill in for other Kiss tributes at the time.
Right.
There was a couple of was Ohio called Strutter, and they're
Right.
actually still around, still doing the Kiss thing. I filled in for them for a little while, and I did another band called Hotter Than Hell. I mean, I was just lending out my services.
Right.
And then out of nowhere, I just decided I had enough. It was just done. I couldn't do it any longer. It was changing who I was, my identity, and people are asking me to sign Kiss records, and I just didn't feel comfortable with doing that. So I basically just one day said, I'm done, I'm finished. And I sold all the gear, all the outfits, the booth, just everything, and said, I'm
Right.
not doing that ever again. And I did.
Right. Cool. Cool. So after that, did you start Generation Landslide?
Yeah, so after that, I had kind of flipped out a little bit and said, I'm done with the music business. I just couldn't take it any longer. So I
Right.
basically went into hiding.
Uh-huh.
And I moved to Ohio,
Wow.
and I practically disappeared per se. But while I was there, that's when I actually started Generation Landslide. It was actually a cover band.
Right.
And we used to play, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all just constantly for years.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it wasn't on any, higher scale or level, like
Right.
obviously Hollywood and California and all that other stuff. So I did that for many, many years.
Right.
And then ironically, out of the blue, I get a phone call for a group text or a group, call, saying that we Cold Sweat got asked to do the M3 Fest.
Right.
Now, this I believe was in 2018,
Right.
and we had the conference, we had the call and everything, and then it just didn't materialize. So I've gone again for another year.
Wow.
2018 comes up, I get another phone call. This time we got asked to be on the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Right.
Obviously, that materialized and that happened. And so in 2020, Cold Sweat, after 30 years, got back together and went on the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Cool. Cool.
So, yeah, so I kind of just, I did that. And then I decided to move away from Ohio and come back to where I grew up, which is Las Vegas.
Right.
So when I did that, Generation Landslide somehow or another just surfaced. My original material that I was writing, started to surface. And so I had gotten interest, and then was told I kind of have to put a band together.
Right. Wow.
And so I did. And then I thought, well, what name to name it? And I thought, well, nobody knows it as an original band. The people that
Right.
that I knew years, knew it as a cover band. So that's how the name came up. And the material started to surface, and here we are.
Cool. Now you got a big show coming up this weekend, right? You have a show coming
We
up.
do. I actually have a show with both bands. I play Friday night. Yeah, I play Friday night at a place called Reckless Shepherd Brewery.
Uh-huh.
And then I play Sunday night, Sunday afternoon at M3 with
Right.
Cold Sweat. So the first one is Generation Landslide on Friday, and then Sunday is Cold Sweat.
How much different are the bands from Cold Sweat to Generation Landslide? How much different are the music and personnel and stuff like that?
Well, I think the one big difference is I don't have an incredible, amazing singer like Roy Cathy, but
Right. Yeah.
I have to do the singing. So just that alone is, in my mind, uh, um, it makes it different. There's similarities.
Uh-huh.
It's a four-piece, so it doesn't have a lead singer. It has me playing guitar
Right.
with another guitar player and a drummer that all sing. So, but the materials, it's kind of along those lines. It's just my version or my way of what if I wrote for Cold Sweat, like I helped write some of the songs, on the Cold Sweat record, but
Right.
it was mostly Marc Ferrari's, band and songs like that. So this was my version or my take of what I would write if I
Right.
was similar to,
Right.
yeah.
You have any new material coming out now?
I do have new material that I'm just finishing up and stuff. I I don't know when yet, and I don't want to talk a whole lot about it. We do play a few new songs from it.
Right.
When we play live, we play a few new songs. It's just I want to just keep, going with the first record for right now. I think it has still a little bit of life left.
Right.
Um, we're gonna try to put out another single and another video
Cool.
here
Cool.
this next month. Um, so I'm gonna keep doing that first, but I have other material. It's already being written, and hopefully it surfaces maybe by the end of the year or sooner.
Um, Moving forward, what are your goals for right now for this year?
Just to keep playing as much as I can. With the original bands, I'm in another original band that just got signed to Frontier
Uh-huh. Wow.
Records called Steel City.
Okay.
So that record's done, and that should be coming out here, I think, hopefully in the next month or two. Cold Sweat just released finally after 30 years the second record on RFK Media, Ron Keel's label and Aaron Fisher's label, called Unburied Alive, which has got studio songs and live recordings from us. So that just came out. Still doing the Generation Landslide, trying to do a fourth song and a fourth single for that. Plus, I'm in a couple of other local things, cover bands and some different things like that. So basically, any of the bands, and I just want to keep playing and putting more material out through this whole year, actually.
What recommendations would you give a new band trying to break into music?
That's a tough one. Um, I I wish I knew the answer to that,
Right.
because I'm still doing, with a couple of these bands and stuff, and it's way different than it was before, with a record company and tour support, and you go on a tour bus and you're out opening, for other bands, and the records in the store, and it's on MTV, and it's on
Right.
radio. It's a different beast nowadays, so it's a little bit tougher. A lot of social media stuff,
Right.
but I don't know. I guess in my opinion, I think if you have good material, it,
Right.
it,
Yeah.
it should play somewhere to someone.
Right. 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 How much is merch important to the bands these days?
Very important. From what I'm gathering, the few festivals that I've done in the last so long and shows and different things that I've been a part of, it's vital to a band because that's what gets the name out, selling merch and giving away this and giving away that and selling this and selling CDs and trying, it's like a band's lifeline, to
Right.
support, to help the band out because, you're not getting it from, all the corporate people.
Cool. What's the feeling like when you have like a line of kids waiting to get your autograph?
Feels weird.
Yeah, I bet.
It feels weird to me that um the story I try to tell is that on the Monsters of the Rock cruise, um it was weird because I was there to meet other bands.
Right.
I'm following Kicks and King's X and Winger and
Right.
all these, and so I'm walking around with all my CD booklets and all my things and this and the other, and people are coming to me asking me to sign Cold Sweat things and stuff like that, and people were like laughing, like going, "Oh my God,"
Yeah, yeah.
it's just I'm a fan. I'm a fan first and a musician, and people appreciate what I do, absolutely. But at the same time, you might see me standing there, holding someone else's CD booklet in my hand to, get some autographs and stuff too. So I still do that. I love it.
Cool. What's your feeling about self-produce and self organize all your material compared to going to a label?
I think it depends on who the person is doing it. And I think it also depends on how strong you feel that you are.
Right.
Not I don't sometimes I think, there are just different people that have great ideas and can't quite vision, where they want to take it. I come from a little different thing than that. I come from the Jimmy Page school, from the Dave Grohl and the different other things like that, where I write what I write and I hear what I hear in my head. So I have an idea of what I think it should sound like. I don't want it to be at the mercy of somebody that gets paid six figures because they're, a big name,
Right.
for lack of better words, Bo Hill or Max Normand or
Right.
Roy Thomas Baker, or nothing against any of those guys. They're amazing.
Right.
But it's hard to vision someone else's thought if you don't have your own,
Right. Wow.
kind of at that mercy, to hope that the blend, between band, songwriter, and producer come together properly,
If you had
So
a chance to go out with,
I
yeah, go ahead.
huh?
Go ahead.
No, I prefer it to be self-produced and, the vision and the idea of going here. If it fails, you're the only one to blame. But if it's successful, you're the only one to blame. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You
definitely.
know,
Cool. If you had a chance to go out with any artist or band, who would that be?
unfortunately, a lot of the bands and a lot of the people that I like and admire and all that stuff, they're not really playing. I mean, I would love to go out with Thin Lizzy, but
Yeah.
they're no longer. I would love to go out with um Kicks.
Right.
They're no long, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
YMP is my other favorite, and I get to, be on the same bill as them on Sunday,
Right. Yeah.
because they're still playing. Um some of those kinds of bands like that, a lot of the ones that I really, really like, and I think Generation Landslide fits well with, I just don't think they're out there, anymore. But that's not to say that, we wouldn't fit with, I don't know, Loverboy or
Right. Yeah.
uh Faster Pussycat. There's even Striper, different, it's
Right.
still got some things to it. Um but it's still different.
Cool. You have plenty of merch ready for M3?
We hope. We we were a little late in sending it, and as we speak right now, we're hoping that it arrives where we need it to arrive. If it doesn't by tomorrow, we have to make other arrangements. So we're hoping that it does, because we're bringing a lot of it.
Well, Anthony,
are you going to this?
No,
are you going to this?
I can't go.
No.
Yeah. I'm hoping to go on that next Monsters of Rock cruise for next year.
Oh, yeah.
I want to go to that. I really do. I'm sad I missed the last one.
That's cool.
Cool. Well, Anthony, it was good talking to you, and congratulations on M3 and all your other endeavors. Would you like to say anything to the fans in conclusion?
No, I think I'm good. Everybody, rock and roll and party every day, and this weekend's going to be a great time. Can't wait. So
great. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Hey, Anthony, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hey, Anthony, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.